Since childhood, you noticed a strange pattern, as if you were living in the background of your own life. Things always came easier to others. Some had better toys, some had kinder parents, some went to the sea every summer. And you listened to their stories, hearing how life could be. Early on, you realized everyone lives in their own reality, but yours felt different, slightly less comfortable. You tried your best, honestly, but even when you succeeded, there was always someone doing better. And it was always them they pointed to, them they praised. And you simply existed. You were just there. And somehow, that wasn't enough. Sometimes you overheard adults talking about other kids, how successful they were, how they tried hard, how they helped grandma, how they aced the test. And you were standing right there. You heard it, and you stayed silent. Because deep down you knew no one was going to praise you. You weren't a source of pride. You were average. Not ready yet. You could do better. You're not enough. And that feeling, that sticky, silent, persistent, not enough, started living with you. You carried it to school. You brought it to birthday parties. You even tried to get rid of it. But it was woven into every mirror, every disapproving glance, every comparison, where you always fell short. What you didn't know was that this was an initiation, a special tuning, as if the universe manually removed you from normal so you would never become ordinary. You didn't know that your perceived flaws held hidden codes, that your loneliness was protection, that your sensitivity was a superpower, that your not enough was only the beginning. Because you weren't born to be like everyone else. You were born to go beyond the template, to not fit in, which means to rewrite. One day you'll realize everything that happened to you wasn't punishment. It was preparation, not karma, but contract. Not weakness, but choice. You were given a difficult map, not because you couldn't handle it, but because you already had. This was the next level. You grew up, kind of. You're no longer 10 or 15. But inside, there's still that same child who feels unseen. You've learned how to pretend you're okay. You became an adult. On paper, in documents, in the eyes of others. You work. You say the right things. You can put on a smart face. You even laugh at the right moments. But inside, you're still watching, still comparing, still wondering who's doing better, who's ahead, who's already made it. You still feel not enough. You tell yourself, well, that's life. It's not a fairy tale. I should be grateful for what I have. But it doesn't work, because deep inside there's still a wound, a feeling that something was missing, that there's a level in life you were never allowed to enter. You see people walk through life with ease, some as if they have a pass. Some started higher, some had support, some had family. And you were just on your own, pieced together from fragments of others' expectations, scraps of words, broken hopes, and so you walk through life. Nothing too dramatic seems to happen, but each day feels like something you have to earn. Earn the right to be heard, earn the right to be loved, earn the right to just live without fear. You don't know why, but it feels like your life isn't truly yours, like something foreign, stuck, incomplete. You've gotten used to being reasonable. You know how not to burden others with your feelings. You've mastered compromise. You've learned how to be easy to deal with, how to be normal. But you never feel like yourself. You're still trying to prove you're worthy, that you're good, that you're capable. But who are you even proving it to anymore? Even you're not sure. And that is where your real question begins. Not to the world, not to others, but to yourself. Where am I? Where did I go? Why am I still living like this? Who forgot to include me? This isn't a crisis. This is the beginning of honesty. You start to feel that you can't do this anymore, that the normal you've built isn't your life. It's just a mask that no longer sticks. You might be sitting at dinner, quietly, A regular evening. Nothing special. And suddenly, a flash, like a piece of old film reel snapping to life. A moment from the past bursts into your mind. A word, a face, a stupid situation, a foolish mistake. Something you tried hard to forget, and you're hit with heat. Shame, not in front of others, but in front of yourself. You remember the people you hung around, the situations you got into, the kind people don't usually come back from. Or if they do, they're never the same. You don't understand what drove you back then. What pain, what emptiness. Why did you go there? Why did you think that was life? Why did you place yourself so low? And in that moment, as an adult with a normal life unburning from the memory of your past, the most important question arises. Why did I choose that? And the answer isn't about morality. It isn't about guilt. The answer is strength. You're a high-level player. You chose the hardest mode, one where beginners don't go, where lessons hit hard, where only those who came to remember who they truly are survive. Your soul didn't want an easy path. Your soul chose forgetting, total forgetting. So that one day, waking up in the chaos, in the ashes, in the mistakes, in the pain, in the loneliness, you could begin the journey home. It's like starting a game on the highest difficulty. No weapons, no armor, just your intuition. You enter the darkest places. You meet the heaviest people. You lose yourself, fall face first into the dirt. You're betrayed. You betray. You don't know who you are. And then, your memory returns, and here you are. Awake. Tired, yes, but alive. Honest. Deep. Wise. And able to understand others in a way no one else can. Because you've been there. You know what it means to come out of the dark. You know what it means to walk through fire. You know what it means to come back to yourself. Your strength isn't in degrees or checkboxes or looking normal. Your strength is that you walked through it all and still remained yourself. You're not random. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're a player who remembered this is all a game. And now, you get to choose. You no longer look away when the past surfaces. You don't flinch. You don't cover it with pain, or whine, or social media, or escape. Now you look directly at those moments. And you don't see weakness, you see power. You made it, you got out, you didn't stop, you remembered. And now, silence. But it doesn't scare you anymore. It's not emptiness like before. It's not loneliness. It's space. Pure, new, yours. You no longer carry your past like evidence of guilt. You no longer compare yourself to made-up ideals. You're not your mother's friend's son, you are yourself. And now, in this state, you don't need to prove anything. Not to your parents, not to classmates, not to exes, not even to past versions of yourself. No one. You're a player. And not only did you survive this level, you realized you control the game. You begin to notice that reality mirrors your thoughts. You no longer live on autopilot. Each day is a new map. You feel how the world shifts when you shift your perception. Now you choose who to talk to, where to go, what to do, who deserves your attention, and who gets removed from your matrix. You're no longer a victim of the script. You are the author, the director, the actor, the set designer, and the observer, all in one. You no longer fear the past. You don't fear mistakes. You're not even afraid of falling again, because you know you'll rise anyway. And most importantly, you've stopped punishing yourself. You've started respecting yourself, not for achievements, not for being better, but simply for existing, for surviving, for holding on, for finally remembering. And now, right now, life starts turning toward you, not because you became correct, but because you came home to yourself. The game is no longer punishment, it's creation. You're no longer in a trap. You're in the flow. You've felt this for a while. Maybe not in words, maybe just somewhere in your body, but you know this isn't your first time on this planet. Not your first round in this game. You are a soul with experience. You've passed levels most can't even imagine. Your memories aren't just the past. They're the echoes of your journey. You were the one who chose light when everything around was darkness. You were the one who saved, the one who lost, the one who searched, the one who fell. And all of those are parts of you. But this time, you chose the hardest level. No instructions, no hints, no map. And one rule only. Remember who you are from inside the game. Not outside, but right here. Among people, among pain, among noise, among distorted information, among millions of distracting programs. And still, you woke up. You remembered. You're not just living. You're bending reality. With every step, you change not just your life, but the very structure of the game. You're not just a player. You're a screenwriter. Your soul is no beginner. That's why it was hard. Because the mission was massive. That's why you felt different. Because you weren't meant to be like the rest. That's why things broke down. Because the old rules didn't fit you. That's why you never fit into templates. Because you came to rewrite them. Now you can see it. What looked like chaos was initiation. What felt like loneliness was the silence where your essence spoke. What felt like a dead end was a portal. You are not a mistake. You are the entry point to a new reality. You don't owe anyone understanding. You don't owe anyone your timing. You don't have to explain why you are the way you are. You are a soul playing on the highest level. And if you feel that truth, you've already won. You were never alone. Even when it felt like everyone left. Even when doors closed. When connections broke. When you were betrayed. Rejected. It was all a stage. And you were the author. You created everyone around you. Even those you couldn't stand. Every person in your life is a reflection of your inner program. A response to your inner thoughts. A mirror to your state. They are you in another role. You create the toxic boss to remind yourself you're free. To learn to say no. To learn to walk away when respect is gone. To no longer fear being yourself. You create difficult relationships not to suffer, but to grow. To understand what love really is. To see the line between control and care. Between shadow and soul. You even chose your childhood. You chose your parents. With their words, with their absence, with their lack or their overlove. You chose it to walk through it. To remember who you are and what you're capable of. Maybe you still don't believe it. Maybe you want to say, no way, I'd never choose that. But look, if none of it happened, you wouldn't be who you are now. You wouldn't have questioned. You wouldn't have searched. You wouldn't have awakened. Maybe you'd still be living in illusion. Maybe you'd still believe everything happens by chance. Maybe you'd never have realized there's a creator living inside you. Every character in your life, a teacher. Every conflict, a launch pad. Every pain, an activation. You are not a victim. You are not a background character. You are the architect. And the moment you begin to see this, everything starts to shift. Not instantly, not by magic, but internally. You stop being angry. You begin to see the cause and effect. You stop asking, why is he like that? And you start asking, why did I create this? And then you begin to notice. When you change your state, the characters around you change too. They either leave or soften. They either disappear or transform. Because they are part of your game. You think positively about someone, and they begin to shine. You carry resentment, and your reality reflects conflict. You don't believe in yourself, and the world shows you that you're nobody. But the moment you shift your inner world, the outer one shifts with it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't have to understand everyone. You don't have to be calm all the time. You are a player, a deeply aware, powerful, ancient one. You didn't come here just to live. You came to remember that everything is you. And when that happens, you stop being afraid. You enter the real game. I thank you. Truly. From my heart. Thank you for your attention. For your depth. For your honesty. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for allowing yourself to remember who you truly are. I genuinely wish you to live in harmony with yourself, to build your reality with awareness, by your rules, at your pace, in your own rhythm. I wish you peaceful mornings, quiet evenings, a gentle heart, and a clear mind. You can do anything. You've already walked so far. From here, it's just awareness, just light, just yours. Thank you for being on this channel. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, you are a player, not a pawn. See you soon, and goodbye for now.